The DA is slamming Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga for what it calls failure to act on the country's reading crisis. You may recall that the Progress in International Reading Literacy study found that only 1 in 5 grade 4 pupils can read for meaning. Yesterday, Minister Motshekga encouraged parents to buy children books instead of toys. But the DA says Motshekga is downplaying the crisis. For more on this, we're joined now by the DA's Shadow Minister of Basic Education, Baxolile Nodada. Thank you very much, Mr. Nodada, for speaking to us this evening. Can you sketch for us the picture of exactly how grave the situation is with regards to literacy in South Africa?
Good evening, Angie, and good evening to your viewers as well. I think it's very important for us to understand that if children can't read, they are doomed before they even begin. And the reality of the situation is that we've got 8 out of 10 grade 4 children who can't read for meaning. But what is worse, Angie, is that half of grade 6 children can't read for meaning when tested on grade 4 levels. And it cannot be that we downplay the situation and try to make it small and blame it on a reading culture at homes. The reality of the situation is that children are sent to school for them to be able to understand the basic concept of reading for meaning and not make excuses about how difficult the text could be, because children have been tested in their own mother tongue language when it comes to reading for meaning, and it cannot be an excuse. And second to that is that there's 69% of our schools don't have libraries, and of those that do have libraries, they are not capacitated, meaning that there's only 14% of schools that actually have functional libraries where children can get books to read. And the reality of the situation is that the children that are going to be affected the most are those that are living in rural and township areas that don't even have access to a book at home, let alone the ability to go and access a communal library, because those don't exist. And we need to take the PROS results as they are. And it's quite sad that the minister now blames COVID-19 wholly for the reading crisis that we have. And the reality is that in July 2021, the Ministerial Advisory Committee that was packed with experts advised the Department of Basic Education to reopen schools, and they took a further 6 months to reopen schools because of the stranglehold by unions. When they eventually opened schools, and we spoke at the State of the Nation address to the President that we need to have a budgeted catch-up and reading plan, it was downplayed at the time. Now, 2 years down the line, we're then being told that, look, there's a plan that's been formulated, yet it's not budgeted for in this financial year, let alone being rolled out or implemented to be able to catch up on the learning losses. So this is a crisis that we need to nip in the bud, because it will only create a situation whereby generations of children are going to be confined to a lifetime of poverty and unemployment because they didn't get the proper schooling at foundation phase that they needed to get for them to be able to get a good quality education to succeed in life.
Is the DA challenging the minister on a formal forum to try and address this more urgently?
Recently now, Anili, we had what we call the budget votes in Parliament, and we had various committee meetings around this issue. And part of the main issues for us in the DA was that the current budget that was passed in Parliament for the basic education had not even one line item on reading or catch-up plans. Yet you've got provinces like the Western Cape that has budgeted 1.2 billion just to catch up learning losses for children. And this is not just on reading, Anili, because if we had to do the team's assessments now on math, science, and other areas, you'd see the learning losses are quite major for children. And second to that, of that 1.2 billion budget, they've got 111 million that is specifically dedicated to reading for meaning, spending an extra 2 hours on reading at school, and it's targeted at mother tongue education that is predominant in the Western Cape, which is Afrikaans and isiXhosa. And if you look at the outcomes of the PROS results, it shows that there's been work that has been done there. There's a program that is in place, that is active, that is budgeted for, and that's why double the number of children can read for meaning compared to the rest of the country. And we challenge the minister to say, yes, it's all good and well to say, look, we're reviewing the plan and so on, but you need to have an immediate intervention as we speak and budget for reading in this financial year. Budget for a catch-up plan so that learners don't fall more and more behind. because that's how you end up with half of grade 6 children not being able to read for meaning when they are tested on grade 4 levels, not even on their own levels. And this is in their own language, not to scapegoat that, look, these tests are done in English. If I'm Xhosa, for example, I am tested on my own mother tongue whether I can be able to read for meaning. And that is a platform that we challenge that vigorously, and we continue to raise it in the portfolio comment on basic education so that the department prioritizes the catch-up plan for children, but more so than anything, the reading plan that they are now developing, to budget and fund it so that it is rolled out in schools, particularly for the rural and township communities that have no other option but to attend public schooling for them to get out of the situations that they're in.
And in Youth Month, I can't think of anything more important than the future of our young people and their ability to read as a basic premise of education. Thank you so much. That was the DA's Shadow Minister of Basic Education, Baxolile Nodada.